Okay, let's just jump right in. 7 years to a seven-figure net worth. Sounds a little crazy, right? Like, is that even possible for a normal person? Well, today we're going to break down a system that says absolutely. It claims there's a clear, step-by-step path to get there. So let's dig in and see what this is all about.
So, let's put this into perspective. I want you to imagine something. You've got $10,000 right now, ready to go. And your big goal is to turn that into $1 million. Using the normal, everyday investment advice you always hear, how long do you think that would actually take?
All right, so if you take that 10 grand and you do what everyone tells you to do, put it in a simple S&P 500 index fund, you're looking at a pretty standard 10% return a year, historically speaking. Well, get ready for this. It would take you a whopping 48 years to hit that $1 million mark. 48 years. I mean, for most of us, that's an entire career. That's a lifetime of waiting.
Okay, so if 48 years is the slow way, what's the fast way? What would it take to get there in just 7 years? Well, the math is kind of mind-blowing. You'd need an annual return of 93%. 93%! You'd literally have to almost double your money every single year. It's pretty obvious that just playing the regular stock market isn't going to get you there. Not even close.
So if the standard route is a dead end for this goal, what are we doing wrong? What's holding us back? Well, it turns out one of the biggest problems is this invisible force that's constantly draining your returns. It's a massive hidden fee that most of us don't even think about, and that's taxes.
And this chart, this really tells the story. You know how everyone gets obsessed with expense ratios? Those little fees that your mutual fund charges? We spend all this energy trying to find the fund with the lowest fee. But look at this. The tax drag, which is just a fancy way of saying how much taxes slow down your growth, is more than double the expense ratio. It's like we're worried about a tiny leak in the boat when there's a giant hole right next to it. We are absolutely fighting the wrong battle.
And that brings us to this really powerful idea. The source puts it so simply. Taxes are essentially a hidden fee. That's it. That's the whole game. The second you stop thinking of taxes as this unavoidable fixed thing and start treating them like a cost that you can manage and reduce, everything changes.
So how do you manage that fee? Well, here's one of the easiest ways. It's all about patience. If you buy a stock and sell it in less than a year, that's a short-term gain, and boom, you could get taxed at over 40%. But if you just hold on to it for 1 year and 1 day, it becomes a long-term gain, and the tax rate gets slashed to under 24%. It's incredible. Just by being patient, you can almost cut your tax bill in half. Patience literally pays.
Okay, so we've plugged that big leak called taxes. Now we need to build the engine that's going to power this whole thing forward. And the foundation for that engine, it isn't some super secret Wall Street trick. It's all about building the simple, powerful, non-negotiable habits that wealthy people live by.
And it really comes down to 3 things. Super simple, but you got to do them. Number 1, spend less than you make. I know, it sounds obvious, but it is the bedrock of everything. If you can't do this, nothing else matters. Number 2, pay yourself first. This is a game changer. Before you pay your rent, before you buy groceries, a piece of your paycheck goes directly to your savings and investments. You come first. And finally, number 3, count your money. You have to know your numbers. What's your net worth? Track it. Face it. You can't improve what you don't measure.
All right, so you've got those habits down. You're building a solid foundation. Now it's time to pour gasoline on the fire. And that gasoline is your income. I mean, saving 10 or 15% is great, and you should do it. But if you can figure out how to dramatically increase the amount of money coming in, well, that's when you start shrinking that 48-year timeline down to something a whole lot shorter.
And a lot of that comes down to this critical shift in how you think about your job. You've got 2 kinds of people. The ordinary employee clocks in, does what's asked, and hopes for that little 3% raise at the end of the year. Then you have the extraordinary employee. This person is different. They're not just working harder, they're working smarter. They're actively looking for ways to make their boss's life easier. They solve problems before they even become problems. And, this is key, they learn how to show their value. They're not just another employee, they're an asset. The way you do that is by moving up what you might call the skill ladder. At the bottom, you have ordinary skills, the basic stuff you need to do your job. Then you move up to financially valuable skills, maybe like management, where you're making things run more smoothly. But the real money, the top of the ladder, is in financially invaluable skills. These are the skills that directly make the company money, things like sales, marketing, deal-making. When you can draw a straight line from your work to the company's profit, you stop being a line item expense, you become a profit center. And that's when you can start asking for a piece of the pie.
Okay, let's recap. You're minimizing your taxes, you've got rock-solid saving habits, and you've turned your income into a fire hose. You've got all this extra cash coming in, so what do you do with it? Now we get to the final, crucial piece of the puzzle, making that money work just as hard as you are, through smart, disciplined investing.
And we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. The expert Alex Green lays out 5 simple, unbreakable laws for success. It's things like understanding that asset allocation, which is really just deciding how much to put in stocks versus bonds, is the most important choice you'll make. It's about picking good companies, not trying to perfectly time the market's ups and downs. It's about diversifying so you don't have all your eggs in one basket. And maybe the hardest one of all, it's about having the discipline to stick to your plan even when things get scary.
And all of this, everything we've talked about, it really all boils down to one simple, powerful truth. At the end of the day, nobody cares as much about your money as you do. Not your financial advisor, not your boss, nobody. You have to be the CEO of your own finances. You have to take control. So, there you have it. The roadmap is actually pretty clear. Step 1, stop the bleeding from hidden tax fees. Step 2, build those rock-solid wealth habits. Step 3, supercharge your income. And Step 4, invest with discipline for the long haul. Look, I know it sounds like a lot, but every huge journey starts with one small step. So the real question isn't what you learned here today. It's what are you going to do about it? I'll just leave you with this to think about. What is the one thing, the one action you're going to take today to get started on this path?